We're driving an X7, that's BMW's full-size 3-row SUV.
Here's how much the X7 costs.
Man, this thing looks, feels, and smells luxurious.
And there are so many interesting materials.
The leather, you got the stitching, you got the shiny bits. We even have optional glass controls down here. The standard X7 comes with real wood trim, but faux leather interior. But there are a lot of different interior motifs to choose from if you want to spend extra money. The interior layout is certainly clean because a lot of the functions are in that screen right there. But these little controls down here that you kind of have to look at if you're going to operate them. A little bit of a button farm, even though they're not proper buttons, they're capacitive controls. They do have these little elevated spots, so you should be able to eventually feel your way around. Beyond design, there's a lot of practical touches too.
There's generous bottle storage, and these cup holders are really special. We have the optional heated and cooled cup holders.
The phone stowage area with the wireless phone charger is behind them. So if you have a tall beverage, you're gonna have to move it out of the way before you put your phone in. Center console space, which isn't huge, but big enough for something. Moving to the seats, they are very adjustable, and I find them to be very comfortable. I wouldn't mind a little more lateral support in the shoulder area, because even with the side bolsters in their most cozy position, I still kind of like flop over a little left and right. I think I'm built a little top heavy. It's this big stupid head of mine.
It's not stupid.
This big smart head of yours. Even the passenger seat is super adjustable, which is not always the case.
Behind my ideal front seat position, plenty of room in the second row. Comfortable recline, 7 seats come standard. We have the 6-seat version. Oftentimes, one of the reasons people will go with captain's chairs, though, is that it aids access to the third row because you can walk down the middle. Kiddo, how do you find walking down the center to the third row?
It's kind of hard. The seats make a narrow space, especially with the armrest.
You can slide them forward and back in various positions, but they do not make it easy to get to the third row, which means you'll probably want to go through the normal path, except in our second row seats here, we've got the power option, and for them to motor out of the way, it does take a long while, and we are impatient people.
At least the fact that it's a push makes it easy for a small, weak child to do it themselves.
I'm not weak.
Not you, another child, a weaker child.
Some other weak child we're thinking of, obviously not you. That said, once the second row is out of the way, there's a wide aperture to get to that third row. Kiddo, as long as I'm talking to you, what is it like climbing in and out of the BMW X7?
I think that's pretty easy, unlike climbing into the third row.
One of the things making child's ingress a lot easier is the fact that we have a standard air suspension, so the X7 can lower itself down. Kiddo, once you're in the third row, how do you fit back there?
Pretty good with the headspace.
One area where I struggle in the third row, knee room is tight unless the person in the second row is kind and moves forward. Unfortunately, I was the person in the second row before I got in the third row, and I wasn't that nice. So tight knee space, and then head space for me with my 5'10" frame, long torso, poofy hair. My head was right up against that headliner. But for occasional use, the third row seats work fine. Behind the third row, we have 12.8 cubic feet of space, which isn't massive, but it's something.
I really appreciate how there's that gate that stays up. It helps keep groceries from rolling out of the back.
And you can flip it down and it makes a nice place to sit. And then you have like a flat load floor so you can easily get things in without having to like lean over the bumper. We like a split gate. Now there is an underfloor area, though accessing it might be difficult if you have one of the cargo covers in place. Got one that covers all the way from the back of the second row seats, and then we have a littler one that's like a solid unit that goes behind the third row seats, and you can put either one of them back there, but not both at the same time. Run flat tires come standard, but if you want a spare tire, that is optional. I imagine most buyers are probably going to leave that third row down for most occasions. Assuming you do that, you've got 48.6 cubic feet of space behind the second row. Plenty of space for a normal-sized family to work with. What about the latch situation, sweetie?
The latches are not covered, and they are on all 4 rear seats. I also think there would be plenty of room for a rear-facing car seat in the second row, unless the third row needs a lot of room.
Moving to safety, neither the NHTSA nor IIHS have rated the BMW X7, but it has a full suite of active driver assist technology standard plus 10 airbags. Family, what do we think? Is the BMW X7 family friendly?
With a base price of over $50,000, it is rich family friendly.
Rear window test. And an enthusiastic all the way down.
That went so fast.
Armrest test. Driving in a comfortable 8 and 4, I have easy access to both inboard and outboard armrests. They feel firm at first press, but they do have some give. And I'm going to give bonus points to the X7 because standard, you get heated elements under both of the armrests and the steering wheel, which makes them extra cozy during cold winter morns. 90% inboard, 90% outboard. Moving onward to style.
A three-row SUV tends to be kind of a big, blocky vehicle, but this has a lot of curves and creases to it, so it seems sporty and stylish.
Contemporary BMW design is challenging for many people because it's just, in many ways, kind of weird. The exterior style of the BMW X7 we're driving was initiated in a mid-cycle refresh in 2023. Before that, it looked much more traditional, but that mid-cycle gave it a little bit more modern BMW zazz. Jazz hands.
Zazz hands.
Let's talk about some of those details that were added during the mid-cycle refresh. While I wear Flying Eyes lose-on frames for people who have poor vision. Driving lights, and then down here we've got the Matrix LED headlights, which are standard. This center kidney grille on the M60i is illuminated as standard. Coming down the side, we've got this hockey stick trim element. It blends in really well here because it's a dark color, but on the base model, that's a little bit more conspicuous. And then back here, we've got these 3D taillights, and I'm not sure if the 3D-ness is this dimensionality here, or if it refers to this little pattern that's subtly incorporated into the side. By the way, if you're noticing this paint here, I've actually gotten some compliments on it. That is Oxford green metallic, and in certain light, it looks black, but it's actually a very dark, kind of sparkly metallic. But it's $5,500. If you'd rather not spend $5,500 for cool green style, consider Flying Eyes eyewear and these cool magnetic tinted lenses. Look, they just pop right on and my eyeglasses suddenly become sunglasses. Flying Eyes offers lightweight, flexible construction. They're made for pilots like me because they fit comfortably under a headset or a helmet, but they also work really well in your life or when you're driving a car because they're so durable and comfortable. If you'd like to learn more about Flying Eyes, click the link in the description below. You can save 10% if you use the promo code Micah on Flying Eyes. Look, they come off, they go on. Come off, go on. Much like the interior, the exterior of the BMW X7 is highly customizable. They have like a ton of different colors, and I was pleased to see that most of them are non-charged. We're feeling pretty positive about the style of the BMW X7, but what do you think? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Tell us in the comments. Also, thank you for supporting our channel in whatever way you do. Simply watching this video is a very cool thing, so thank you for that. Moving onward to In Motion. The X7 has elite tier ride quality, and a big part of that is the standard adaptive air suspension. And the M60i that we're driving here is active comfort drive with road preview. Basically, we've got active anti-sway bars, and we also have a system that uses GPS information and also a camera looking forward to read the road to adjust the suspension for maximum comfort. Active comfort drive with road preview, which is really fun to say, is also available on the dynamic handling package if you get the base level X7. Once again, we're driving the M60i version, that's the sporty version, and unsurprisingly, the suspension has been tuned more sportily. I find the handling prowess of the X7 we're driving here to be formidable. This thing hauls. One challenge, though, is I have a little bit of difficulty determining how close I am to its limits. I think I'd need more time in the X7 to really understand its full capabilities. One thing I did appreciate, though, is the power, which I've just floored it there, and man!
Wow.
Wow. The powertrain here is the real highlight. Though I imagine that just for our purposes, tootling around, the base engine would be just fine. I do like an inline six.
And a good tootle.
And a good tootle. All X7s feature an 8-speed automatic transmission, and just driving around in comfort mode, I don't even think about it. Though you can get a little bit more assertive. Notice that each gear change is a little bit more of an event when you have it in Sport Plus. You get a little bit more of that like, with a vehicle made to just do domestic duties, but also with all this performance potential, it's really cool to be able to adapt that nature just by going into these different modes. For controlling the transmission, we have standard paddle shifters. If I hold down this left paddle for 1 second, well, you'll see what happens. Sprint. It's now going to the lowest possible gear to be ready for acceleration, and then we can just go with haste. So if you know you're gonna need maximum performance in just a few seconds, try Sprint. And if you want the best savings for long distance phone calling, don't try Sprint. I don't think that thing exists anymore. Ooh, a stop sign. What a great opportunity to see if I can come to a velvety smooth Micah style stop. Brakes are a little bit touchy, and I'm really trying to, I think I made it happen.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
I think that's really more a testament to my skill than the vehicle. Pat self on back. All right, that's what I think about driving the BMW X7. What does Sweetie think? Evie's at the wheel. Let's start your segment the traditional way we do when we're in a BMW. Put it in reverse. Go ahead and start backup assistant. One of BMW's coolest features is this backup assistant where it remembers where it's been and then it can retrace that path rearward. So if you pull into a spot and you're like, I don't know how I'm gonna get out of here, BMW has you covered. Sweetie, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you love this?
I love it so much. It's a 10 out of 10. Wow.
Yes, it is wow-worthy. Okay, you can
I hate backing up.
All right, enough backing up. Pull us out of here.
Why is this so maneuverable?
That is the benefit of four-wheel steering. Yeah, the rear wheels at slow speeds can kick themselves out in the opposite direction and really tighten up that turning circle.
That is the first thing I noticed. It's not intimidating at all. Maneuvering it around felt very graceful.
Do you have enough power?
Whoa, too much power.
Does it strike you as intimidating or manageable?
When you weren't right seat, it felt manageable.
So as long as you don't have some guy telling you to floor it, it's okay. What about steering?
Sometimes with a sportier vehicle, it feels too heavy. Not the case here.
It can change the amount of effort it takes to turn the steering wheel, but it can also change the steering ratio. So you don't necessarily have to turn as many turns at slow speed to get the steering angle you want. And then at higher speeds, it slows down a little bit, making it feel more stable. Any visibility concerns?
Over my right shoulder, I have difficulty seeing past our kid's seat, and these front pillars are pretty thick.
All that said, if we were in the market for a full-size 3-row luxury SUV, are there any game killers that would keep you from driving a BMW X7?
No, it would be a pleasure to drive a BMW X7.
Brilliant. I'm getting back in the driver's seat. Moving on, we're to remarks. We've got a standard 14.9-inch screen here, and then under the same pane of glass, a 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster. We have standard Apple CarPlay and Android Auto wireless fart. I didn't mean to say that. I did mean to say smartphone connectivity. And it's crazy now that I'm thinking about how smartphone has never turned into fart phone in all these years. Anyway, so you have smartphone integration. You also have a few different ways to interact with the infotainment setup.
Touchscreen, there's the BMW xDrive controller. You can also use your voice, which I found myself using most often. There's a lot of stuff happening in the infotainment system. You can find your way there if you're looking at it, but when I was driving, I found it much simpler to just talk to it.
Hello. What can I help you with?
I'm cold.
Your words have not moved, BMW.
I know.
Hey, BMW, I'm hot.
No problem. I will lower the temperature.
I guess I like Daddy more than Mommy.
In addition to the standard ways to interface with the system, we do have BMW gesture controls. Wave your finger around like this and go back and forth in tracks and turn up the volume, that kind of stuff. I just read a story. Gesture controls are dead, as is the BMW iDrive controller. BMW is going to focus strictly on touchscreens moving forward. Now, if all of that's not entertaining enough, though, BMW does have other technological delights, which is a weird way to say that. One really interesting feature in the X7 is called Manouver Assistant. So if, let's say, you have a challenging maneuver you do all the time, parking in a narrow pathway or something, you can record the movement and it will remember that by GPS. I came here earlier and recorded a movement. Let's see if it remembers that I have a movement here. And man, that sounds odd. Start recorded path. Take my hands off the wheel, my feet off the brake and gas, and it'll automatically move us on this weird circuitous path I recorded previously. It shows you the path and how many more feet you have. You got great visualizations here. You can record multiple paths, give them different names. Look at that.
Awesome.
Amazing. Maneuver Assistant. For the 2025 model year, not much has changed, but there is one addition. The X7 now offers the Driving Assistance Pro package, which adds hands-free driving assists. There's even an automatic lane change function. All right, let's take a look under the hood in a test inspired by my buddy Brian. If you're wondering how do you check the oil level in your X7, you don't do it under there. It's only through the infotainment screen. But if you do need to add oil, that's where you can do it. Over on the left side, you can add washer fluid. And if you're wondering what the horn on the X7 sounds like, all right, let's talk engine choices. The base engine is a 3-liter inline 6-cylinder turbocharged engine. Move up to the M60i that we're driving and you get a 4.4-liter V8 twin turbocharged. If that's just not fast enough, consider the Alpina XB7. Regardless of engine, all-wheel drive comes standard and premium fuel is recommended for all X7s.
Sweetie, will you please share our trim recommendation?
Yes, I will, and with great haste because the sun's going down. Our recommendation is which trim will give you the essential features you'd regret not getting in a BMW X7, but at the lowest possible price. The base xDrive 40i luxury trim includes everything everything you need as a driver and more, including power front seats, a panoramic moonroof, 4-zone climate control, a head-up display, a power liftgate, and smart key access. All that for $84,300, which is a comparatively reasonable price for the segment. If you're ready to buy a BMW X7 of your very own, click the Kelley Blue Book pricing link in the description below to tell you what you can get for your current car for trade-in and what you should spend on a BMW X7. As for competitors, you got names like the Cadillac Escalade, the Range Rover, the Mercedes-Benz GLS, Audi Q7, or the Lexus LX. Did we miss any remarks? If so, tell us in the comment section. Now, it is our daughter's time to shine. Child, can you tell us what is your favorite feature in the BMW X7?
I like the little lights that go along the doors, and sometimes they change color.
This thing looks really neat at night, and it's funny because LEDs are not that expensive, but it really does spruce up the interior. Family, I think we've done a good job reviewing the BMW X7. They have a 5 and a 5, and you come get your high five. Blammo! And now, please enjoy our AI-generated synopsis song about the BMW X7.
Cruising down the road, feel that power. X7's got the style every hour. Leather seats stay pristine, never sour. Hit the gas, watch me roll, sunshine shower. Body right,